Hey guys, good evening. And today we have Dr. Prateep Philip who's joining us to talk about his book. Okay, it's called Fillipism, and you can see the cover on the screen. And welcome to the Beautiful Mind series. Thanks a lot, Mr. Prateek, for joining us on this particular episode.
Great evening, Ravi. Great evening to all the friends in the audience. Look forward to this chat with Ravi.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks for taking time out. Before we start off, I would like to, know, out of your hectic schedule, you're the, Director General of Police. When did this passion of writing start? When did you decide that I should, get into writing?
The writing bug bit me very early in life. I started writing in school. I began with middles, published middles in the leading dailies in Bangalore, where I grew up. And I was always journaling to myself. It was a kind of introspection. And I began writing even Maxims, a few, while I was in the ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay. We hear a small audio issue when you're talking. But yeah, let's check out it's not there. I think it's only when you're talking. Uh, so how was your journey as an author? I mean, is this your first book, or did you write other books before this?
This is actually my fourth book. It is my magnum opus. The other three were written well before. The first book was on my brainchild, Friends of Police Movement, a roadmap for proactive people protection. And that book gave the seminal idea of VOP, which translated to Hindi becomes Aam Aadmi. The title of that comes from my speech when Kiran Bedi was releasing my first book, Friends of Police Movement.
Wow. That's nice to know. Can you talk about this book, and why did you name it Philippism, and why Maxim? Why did you choose Maxims as a mode of getting your message out to the readers?
Today we're living in a world of too much information, TMI, and TLI is there, too little insight. So I was always looking for wisdom, nuggets of wisdom, right from my early days. And those nuggets of wisdom actually gave me a lot of inspiration, a lot of strength, both professionally, personally, and every aspect of life. So, what you cannot get in a whole book, sometimes you can get in a single line of wisdom. And so I was quite focused, though I read a lot of other books, history, biography. Maxims are a particular genre which I enjoy. And, when I was young, whenever I woke up, I saw my dad had put a painting with a maxim, and probably that played a role in my subconscious. And that maxim was poise is a great power derived from the mastery of self. So, probably that structuring of language and sequencing of ideas and putting in a lot of content into a few words that began the journey.
Super. For friends who are still not aware of Maxim means small sentences, or few words which give a lot of meaning. These are basically short sentences which have a lot of depth and explanation in it, where you don't have to really orate the entire story, but that few words make a lot of difference. So friends who I wasn't aware of Maxim. I had to really research on it before doing this particular interview. Yeah, there might be a lot of friends who are watching this who might be in a similar situation. So Maxim is a pithy, or a short form of wordings which explain a lot of things in terms of education. So sir,
Actually, Ravi, it's nothing but what common people call it proverbs.
proverbs.
Proverbs for daily living.
True. So who should read this? And who? I mean, when you wrote this, who were the audience you had in mind when you were writing this?
Actually, this book was written day by day, a line by line. So every day I used to write one or max a few maxims, and it was shared on Facebook over the last 10 years. So it took 10 years to write this book, compile and publish it. It took 1 year of editing. And the audience is any human being. There's basically software for any human being to be effective, successful, happy, productive, and contributing. To enable every human to achieve his full potential. That's why it's called Fillipisms. Because just like the Tirukural actually had a role, because I started working in Tamil Nadu as an IPS officer in the year 1989. And on a visit to Kanyakumari, I saw the tallest statue, the Thiruvalluvar statue, which is 133 feet, to commemorate the 1333 couplets that he wrote, which is known as Kural. So I said, I need to coin a word which will characterize what I write. And so my writings, I started calling a Philippism. And I was the only person in the entire globe and all of social media who copyrighted every Philippism that I wrote. And I used to write C. And fortunately, people didn't think it's a right to copy. I don't know, because maybe because I was a cop, so they thought it's a copyright, not a copyright. And later on, I found that when I did a check, I found nobody had copied most of what I had written over the years. And Facebook is very easy to get a record of whatever we had posted. So what I had posted over 10 years, I could off and on download it. And then one of my interns compiled it. And then a whole lot of people which are there in the book, in the acknowledgements, helped to edit it and perfect it. And in fact, my family played a big role during the lockdown. The lockdown was helpful in that sense because my older daughter, a busy lawyer, commercial lawyer otherwise, had to come down from Mumbai. And she, I knew, is a great artist. So I asked her, instead of my copying pictures to illustrate it from the net, why don't you do original pictures? And so she asked me, Dad, give me the best Philippism in every chapter, 33 chapters, and I will draw the pictures. And these drawings, paintings that she has done is in the stream of consciousness style. And each of it is itself very inspiring and has a great impact on readers. There are 33 of them, and I'll just depict a few. Like this is the deeper the pain, the greater the painting. So it shows a girl in great agony in this spot, shouting out in agony.
You have to raise
And
it
then
furthermore. Yeah. No.
and moving forward, she is more relaxed. And then finally, she is liberated and she expresses exhilaration at the liberation. So Philippisms gives people that kind of an experience. The insight transforms the mind and transforms the relationships, impact, contribution.
Superb. So
some of these pictures are from vignettes from our travels, like our travel just before the lockdown to Kashmir. Enabled her to illustrate this Philippism, which is only still waters reflect images. Hence, if one wants to improve his image, his life, he has to be still and reflect. So all the young people and others in your audience, if you want to improve your life, you just need to be still and reflect. And the picture is of the Dal Lake, where in the midst of the fragile chaos of the state, there's a lot of tranquility still around the Dal Lake.
superb. So, these pictures were captured by your daughter?
Yeah, these pictures were captured from her memory and imagination and then turned into works of art.
Wow.
Like this. And most of the people, they say that they like all of it. People around the world who have, I've been sharing these pictures over the last 30 days, every day one. And many of them, they say this is the masterpiece.
Yes, it is.
Is it clearly? Yeah, this is a picture of me. And it illustrates death and near-death experiences teach us lessons that life cannot. And the inscription below that is, the painting is of the author and is inspired by two of his near-death experiences in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination on May 21st, 1991, and
Oh,
of drowning in the ocean in 1989. In 1989, I was just engaged by the daughter who did these paintings was not born. In 1991, 10 days after she was born, I was next to the former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi when the world's first woman bomb or human bomb exploded, and I was badly injured.
oh,
And so this book is born out of a lot of experiences in my life as a police officer, as a family man, as a husband, as a father, as a citizen, as a believer, and all these dimensions come into these 33 chapters, 3,333 maxims.
yeah. Why did you choose that name? Is it your favorite number, three, or it just
Now, when the compilation happened, I was really puzzled how to organize it because the Tirukural was beautifully classified in 133 chapters, and it had 10 maxims per chapter, like things like love and so on. But it was a challenge how to organize so many 3,000 plus. And I started aiming for 3,000 plus because I read that Solomon had the earlier world record. King Solomon, 3,000 years ago, had written or spoken 3,000 proverbs. And I said, okay, even though it is not in the world book, because at the time there's no world book, that is the historic record. So I need to exceed that. So it had to be more than 3,000. And then when I thought of organizing it, I said, okay, if I can organize it to 33 chapters, having 101, then it will be a number which is very mnemonic, easy to remember. 3333, which is also 33 years of my experience.
wow.
So that's the meaning behind the choice of the number.
Okay. So can you talk about the world record? You've also registered this in the Asian Book of World Records. So how did that happen? And how was the feeling after you got that recognition that yes, you've set it.
Yeah, most of the thinkers who have contributed to development of the human psyche, the mind, the spirit, are from Asia. So the first landmark that I aim for is the Asian Book of Records. I didn't want an Indian book because I knew that already this far exceeded any Indian record. And so Asian was the first milestone. And then it took another 6 months to actually get the World Records Union to recognize this because there is no category like this. When we wrote to Guinness, because nobody writes maxims like that. Maxims writer comes once in a blue moon or once in a generation or even beyond. And therefore, there is no record in this category. And so they had to create a new record of maximum maxims. And that gave me a lot of encouragement when I won both the Asian Book of Records and the World Records Union citation.
Super. Sir, if we have to measure or define a percentage of whether this book has more content related to uh, professional life, personal life, and life as as it is. So how would you define? This book has more maxims related to your professional life or family life.
No, there are actually very few which are related to my profession, though my experience certainly honed the wisdom behind the sayings. There are 33 chapters. So one reviewer, former governor of Orissa, Dr. Rajendran, M.M. Rajendran, who is himself an author, said that though the author does not claim that it is an encyclopedia of maxims, it is virtually an encyclopedia of maxims. It covers A to Z of life. And it starts with attitudes and ends with zeal. And so every dimension of life is covered in it. Like the very first quote is an optimist is one who never wants to opt out. And the illustration is my daughter surfing, that even though there are huge threatening waves, you don't get scared and you don't opt out when the challenges are huge. So it is quite generic and is not related to my profession. There are very few which may be related to a cop life. So there's one I remember that a cop should learn to cope with hope. So there is this rhyme and sensibility both built into these maxims, so that it's easy to recollect, and there is a mnemonic built into it. So, and it is all about the human mind, the human spirit, and as the design of the motive on the cover is quite unique. Can you make out, Ravi, what is the cover about? The motive?
Yes, yeah, I can see a bulb and then a universe within
Yeah, it's the cosmos,
cosmos.
and it's a macrocosm within a microcosm. That is the entire cosmos within each maxim or each Philippism. And you would notice it's not an ordinary bulb. It has three parts, which are seemingly not immediately connected. There seems to be a division, but actually there is a magnetism between the three. And these three, though my daughter didn't explain why she drew it in this manner, the younger daughter who designed the cover, I interpreted that the bulb is the spirit part. Spirit is infinite. And then the mind with the middle segment, and the body, which is the base, the holder of the bulb. So we got to be a holder. The body is a holder. Unless we have a corpus, we would not be speaking. Then our mind should be collecting our experiences and crystallizing what learnings we can glean from it. And the spirit that gives us the infinite power, the infinite love, the infinite wisdom and strength that we need to combat all the huge challenges we face in life. Like, for example, what I faced, 2 near deaths. One which I never bargained for, even in training. Nobody taught us that you would ever be next to a human bomb. Even in the books of fiction that I read just before the assassination, it talked about a woman, an unlikely assassin, but a woman who was a sniper in a Ludlum thriller. But here you have a woman strapping a bomb on her back, wearing a churidar, garishly dressed, and volunteering to be a suicide bomb. It's, truth is often stranger than fiction. So all these learnings which I've gleaned over my nearly 60 years, plus 33 years of experience as a cop, as a senior police officer, have gone into making this book.
Right. So, friends, we have a short video about the book, the testimonial, and also more about, Dr. Philip. So, here is a short video.
Of a message I was supposed to give if we were together at the launch of his latest book, 3333 Fillipisms. Now, I don't know if that's how it's being pronounced, but 3,333 phrases, proverbs, ideas, advice, management, sales, service advice. It covers the gamut. Just the volume. I know I have quoted a bunch of stuff, but to come up with 3,333, I know in itself was a record, and that's been touted that one man over a course of his life would amass that amount of wisdom. But the beauty is not in just the collection or the completion of the collection. The beauty is in its visible demonstration of great wisdom in every one of those quotes, every one of those sayings, rich with meaning, dripping with purpose, and giving you a desire to now unpack it in a way that would allow you to internalize, personalize, and vocalize for yourself. Dr. Philip's own journey is not anything I need to tell you about. You just go online and look it up. As heroics go, he is probably lauded as a police officer who has accomplished great amount of success in all the endeavors he's taken. But this side of him, which is a lesser known side of him, even though he's a much in-demand public speaker, is the side of him that drew me to him. That someone with that kind of visibility and that kind of prowess would have the care and concern to begin to document that which he thought were pearls of wisdom, real management gems, that individually, if used, would catapult people to new heights and new prominence. But collectively, if internalized, would not only change a life, it would alter a behavior, and it would give some kind of credence to a new way of thought process. Some of the words he has coined about economics and the new way in which he calls it exonomics, and some of the pronunciations are hard to come by because that's it. They take word structures that already existed, merge them together to give them new nomenclature and derive not only new meaning for it, but give you what is called a present continuous reality to that verbiage. Now that just may sound like a bunch of words, and those of you listening have heard me or have heard me before know that I love the language itself. But man, do I marvel at this man's ability to turn a phrase. That's what they said about some of the more prolific writers of our time. They said when you looked at the writing of Malcolm Muggeridge, or you looked at the writing of G.K. Chesterton, or you looked at the writing of F.W. Borum within the global scale, you will find people who actually were able to put thought on paper that danced off as some kind of a symbolic way that stood the test of time. And with these 3,333 Fillipisms that this new book or this new work or this new tome is about his own life, I think for the ages we have now got collected, captured wisdom. You know, there's an old story that is told about a king. And this king was asked his subjects, go out and find me the truth of the world. And the truth of the world, the subjects went far and wide, or those that were entrusted with that went far and wide, and they came back with a book. He says, too big. They went back and came back with a chapter. He said, still too big. They came back with a sentence. And the sentence simply said, there ain't no free lunch. And the parable basically illustrates that the truth of the world is nothing is free, but it required one sentence to tell the truth of the world. In such short, pithy sentences, Dr. Philip has revealed some of the great truths of the world. I wholeheartedly endorse the work, not only because I'm a fan of his work or because I've been participating in some of similar work, but the one thing maybe there is in me is a desire that I wish I had, that someday I would be able to understand the depth of his intelligence that we are so fortunate to have during this time. I would encourage you to pick up this book. I would encourage you to make it one of your arsenal, in the sense that if you're a communicator of any stance in this world, This is something you want in your private collection. I would put it up there with the likes of Adrian Rogers and his Adrianisms, or the Zig Ziglar of this world, who were great communication giants. But Dr. Philip has managed to put it into his own unique way called Fillipisms. Get this book. It will impact you personally, it will inspire you professionally, and it will do great justice to your journey. Until next time, God bless.
Superb. Very nice testimonial, sir.
That is very kind of Krishnanam, who is a well-known author and trainer and speaker in Dallas, United States.
Wow. So, with respect to this particular book, is this a pretty serious book, or have you also got some humor in it? I mean, your title, the way you talk and all that, it's always the title or the work proceeds. So, is there any humor also which is attached to this particular book?
Yeah, there's a lot of witty Fillipisms. Like I just at random, I opened the page. It says a few people are six-pack, but most people are one sack. And from memory, I can't find it which chapter it is. Another one which my younger daughter, she's in the final year of BCom, and her friend said is epic. They were laughing, in Snapchat. And this one goes like this. Most men are genital men. A few are gentlemen.
Okay.
Most men are genital men. The few are gentlemen. And so there are lots of, witty ones hidden in each chapter.
So, during the testimonials, your friend also mentioned about sales. In your role, when did sales come into the picture? And, have you written anything related to sales and economy?
Yeah, there are lots of completely new copyrighted ideas in this book. And one of the big ideas which I have to write an entire tome on, which the world has not so far discovered, a concept which Sam Petroda, when he was chairman of the Knowledge Commission, when I shared it to him while standing in the aisle of an aircraft, he said, I've never heard such a concept. And that is exenomics. Exenomics. EXE is the root of excellence, and nomics is numbers, which comes from economics. So if you want the world to improve, the concept of exenomics is you come out of all the isms, capitalism, socialism, all these have their own glitches and flaws. Ideological polarization takes place. It leads to conflict. You move out of isms into ICS, that is exenomics, and that is seek first excellence. Have a passion for excellence, and the numbers will chase you. It's true for me in my life. Now I focused on making this book an amazing product, excelling all the books I know in terms of the design, the layout, and etc. The proofreading and every aspect of it. And the numbers will follow. Now the first lot of books have already sold out. So in my life, this has been proven. If you want to excel in any field, be it sales, be it in media, be it in teaching, any field. And as I heard this morning, a message which said that even if you have to be, if fate destines you to be a sweeper, sweep the road like a Michelangelo.
True.
Be an artist in what you do. Excel in all aspects. And there is an entire chapter on excellence because of my passion for excellence. I was not always excellent, Ravi. Back in school, the students my peers would have laughed if they, knew that one day I would be writing a book on excellence. I was a mediocre guy. But at a particular point, I was inspired by one maxim. That's the role of maxims. You can just one sentence, one phrase can turn your life around. And that sentence which struck my mind was in the 9th standard when a teacher said, aim for the stars and you'll hit the treetops. Aim for the stars and you'll hit the treetops. And in fact, when I started aiming for high rank, I ended up with the first rank in the state of Karnataka when I had never stood first in a class of even 100. So I moved so many zeros up, 5 zeros, where I had not even stood first in a class of even 50. And so every dimension of life, if you pursue with passion, every breath. Now, people ask me, how do I find time in my busy job? Everyone has time. You just have to use the gaps. While I'm commuting, the ideas float up. I spend an hour every day on meditation, on one verse, in just one verse. And that becomes the trigger to push my imagination, my intellect. And in the course of the next few hours, these Fillipisms will flip up. And so economics is an idea which salespeople can benefit from. Excel in how you provide service. Don't just try to push a product on somebody which he doesn't need, but do it in such a way with grace, and do it as putting yourself in the shoes of the buyer, and give after sales service, and be sincere about it, and you'll find people flocking to you to buy the same things that you are struggling to. Now, one of the master Fillipisms in this book, which is actually the root of all the Fillipisms, is a thought process that will also help all of your audience and anyone going to listen to this interview in days to come. And that is very, monosyllabic, crisp, precise, just monosyllables. Be at it, beat it. The entire thought process of mankind, I simplified, demystified in a process which I could call EQ thinking or equilibrium thinking. So when this was taught, equilibrium thinking, or be at it, beat it. Be at it is the positive aspect, beat it is the negative aspect, or the minus aspect. This is the only thought process in world history that combines both the plus and the minus. So it is completely holistic. And so when I taught 100 MBAs in a sales team of a very large blue chip company, and they were selling financial products, the vice president sent me a mail 3 months later. He said, most of our training by management gurus don't produce results. And that's called the honeymoon effect of training. It just fizzles out. But your training had an impact. And our total sales moved up from 4 crores to 32 crores, 800%. That is itself a world record. And he said there was no other factor. He analyzed there was no other factor. There was no advertisement campaign. There were no incentives, special incentives given to the sales team of 100. There was no other factor. And he said it is because my thought process, which I have discovered in the course of my life and taught to millions of people in different ways, through the website eqthinking.com, through seminars, workshops, through my writing, through TV interviews, and so on. It has reached millions of people. Be at it, beat it. That is the crux of the software of the mind. It is mindware. Be at it, beat it.
Beat it. Super. Very, very apt, and very much required for because most of the roles nowadays have moved to sales driven or revenue driven roles, including some support roles which existed a couple of years back. So I think this is very apt for team members. I think just depending on your book, you might have a lot of management gurus who will start using these maxims to give sessions at the colleges and in corporates. I think there's that's what I see.
Yeah, no, an 85-year-old management guru who has written 52 books. He says he's challenged, and every time he keeps reading my book, poring over it, trying to find a single idea which is not original, a single sentence which is not original. And he said he's amazed, because he says even the books, 52 books that he authored, he actually translated the ideas of others into his own words. But he says your ideas are completely new and original. Like there's a concept called proto-synthesis. Proto-synthesis.
Not photosynthesis.
What is the process of, not photosynthesis, but proto-synthesis? It is not a new word, but it's a new usage by me. So proto-synthesis is tapping into the infinite wisdom of the Creator. Just like the plants bask in the sunlight and produce sugar and oxygen, if we bask, as I do daily, in the wisdom of the Creator, then we have a deep connectivity, and that will inspire ideas. So this is a secret. Protosynthesis is the process that has produced this book, every line in it.
So, sir, what's next? What's cooking, and what's your next project that you're working on?
Well, there are lots of projects. There are, enough books that need to be written out of the ideas in this book itself, like EQ thinking, economics. So those are few projects which I've been, postponing for about 10 years, because those ideas were born in my mind some 30 years ago, some 15 years ago. And so those need to be a much bigger canvas and a bigger treatment. And then I got also need to write on my experiences, how I survived near death.
Yeah.
In a human bomb assassination. There will be a survivor's account, the only survivor's account of an assassination. That is the title that is in the offing. And then I continue to write Fillipisms today, and I've now reached 4,677 today. 4,677. So every day now I'm writing more than 2, 3, 4. So the next book, volume of Fillipisms, I expect will be written in 5 years' time, not 10 years as this took. And the next one after that, at the same pace, would take another 3 to 5 years. So I would stop with 10,000, 3,333 in each, and the last one will have 3,334 maxims. So that I believe it may be difficult for anyone else to break that record.
All the best for that, sir. So
Thanks.
You've seen couple of generations, okay, a couple of decades. You've seen people working under you. You've worked. You started your career. With the current generation, apart from your kids, when you look at outside the youth, the students, what is that message you have for them, especially when we're talking about excelling in their life, maximizing their life? What is that suggestion you have for them?
Yeah, today everybody is talking about the youth not having a sense of direction, and that they are not self-motivated, and that they can get easily diverted because their attention span, because the tweets have only 124 characters, and one of the tweets, one of the Fillipisms I wrote is that today, character is missing, and you only find it in the 124 characters of a tweet. And so building strong character requires a lot of experience. And so the youth should focus on building that kind of strong character, and that will build their families. That will enable them to withstand huge challenges as I have gone through. And they would be a source of oxygen. Basically, every page emits oxygen, life-giving oxygen. And so they should become oxygenizers for their generation, and not just be consumers. If you're consuming oxygen, you've got to also be an oxygenizer, a contributor. So whatever you're consuming, try to give off it. And that is why I try to reach out to the poor. I have a Friends of Poor initiative where we try to reach food to the poor through my organization called Friends of Police. So today on my LinkedIn, you would see I just modified my profile to FAST. FAST, the acronym stands for founder, author, speaker, thinker. So everyone should develop their inner talents. Each human has amazing talents which are far greater than mine. You have far greater talents than me, but it is about you utilizing it. And as Hillel says, they should realize, if I am not for me, who will be? If I am for myself alone, then what am I? So if the youth are only living for themselves and their own, whims and fancies and pleasures, then they need to ask, what am I? So you need to think about contribution, think about building our nation, a great nation, the nations of the world, think globally, act locally. So you got to be in action also. It's not only every Philippism actually spurs people to action, to create some change in themselves or in their circles. So it's not all about theory, it's not all about thoughts, but it's thought that leads to action.
Super. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming on the show
Thank
and
you.
share your
Thank you, Ravi.
your insights.
You're a great host.
Thank you, sir. And friends, we will share the links where this book is available, where you can readily order it from Amazon, and you can also view it on Kindle. So do connect with Mr. Philip, Dr. Philip, if you have not connected yet. We will also share his social handles where he is available, so that you can follow, and also follow the
Yeah.
maxims which are available out there on a day-to-day basis. So,
Yeah, Ravi, they can also visit my websites, prateepphilip.com, eqthinking.com, princeofpolice.org, Fillipisms.com. They can also join my EQ Thinking community on WhatsApp on 98405 22100. Thanks.
thank you, friends. Thank you, and have a great evening. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for all of
Thanks.
this. Waiting to watch for the next series of the books. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye bye.